Yes, yes, we're gonna take a photo together. Yes, I was waiting for Councilman King at least to come in, and but whoever else might come in shortly. Back to Dillard. Good, good. Oh, maybe I should take the photo now, because. Good morning. Good morning. Distinguished gentlemen, I just want to ask you all to bear with us now. Councilman King is here. We're going to conduct a meeting of the French Quarter Economic Development District. I explained it a little bit earlier, but we're going to have that meeting, and then Councilman King, before we get into the main agenda of our council meeting, they're here for a proclamation presentation. We're going to come up and take a quick photo, okay? So this is Councilman Freddie King, who represents the West Bank and part of the East Bank, which includes the French Quarter and other communities near it. Hello. How you doing?
Okay, Councilman. Don't have a quorum.
All
so
right.
What we will be doing is proceeding. We'll let her give her report.
Okay.
But since you don't have enough to vote on anything, not that there's anything to vote on.
All right, Ms. Cooper, the floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. Thank you for letting me, for inviting us in here today. I'm representing all of us, the French Quarter Economic Development District. You're used to seeing Carly Frankic here, but she was unable to be here this morning, so I was recruited. I am the chairman of the board of the French Quarter Management District and a resident of the French Quarter. So what we're going to do this morning is do the final 2023 report. Recently, you approved the budget for 2024 for this French Quarter Economic Development District. As you all know, there's a cooperative endeavor agreement in place that oversees this, and the purpose is to enhance public safety and achieve economic development in the French Quarter. Our trust fund collectively represents the taxes collected for the quarter-for-a-quarter tax. 2023, we collected just over $3 million, and that flowed into that trust fund, and our expenses were $1.897 million, leaving us with a surplus of $1.3 million in that trust fund. I'll take questions at the end if anyone has them. So we exceeded our budgeted income by 107% of the budget. Our expenses, however, fell at 63% of the budgeted expense. The summary for those figures, tax collection was good. Expenditures were low because there were public safety programs that we approved in the 2022 and 2023 budget that did not take place. That includes streetlights, parking enforcement, and code enforcement for the French Quarter. So if we look at the specific data here, our big successes were license plate readers and crime cameras. This money paid for both of them. We installed, not us personally, but the license plate readers that were installed were 16 out of 16 budgeted. They are all operational. Crime cameras, a big deal in the French Quarter, 76 out of 104 are now operational as at the end of 2023. And even more importantly, NOPD used that video for investigative purposes 162 times in just 4 months. So those crime cameras are very important as we all work together to reduce crime in the French Quarter. On a less impressive scale, we installed 0 streetlights. The city had 0 code enforcement violations addressed, and there were only 5 supplemental parking enforcement nights. That data came from NOPD. We are optimistic in 2024 that these numbers will improve. We're working together very closely to get streetlights addressed. We all know what kind of an issue that is in terms of crime and public safety. We, of course, oversee the supplemental police patrol, those little black cars that you see in the French Quarter paid for by New Orleans and Company. Here is the data for their 2023 metrics, key performance indicators. We definitely saw improvement, as you can see as well, over 2022. And those numbers continue to improve. One of our major focuses for those post-certified officers is the percentage of shifts filled. And you can see in 2022, the average was 46%. 2024, we were around 70, and our metric for 2023 was around 70%. 2024, we hope to fill 75%. Anybody have any questions on this slide? I know there's only a couple of council people here, but not, I'll move on. Other things that we track for the supplemental police patrol include all of the data that you see on this slide, all of them important in terms of public safety. You can see the data for 2022, the averages by quarter for 2023, and then the total year to date. Again, this is the little black cars that you see throughout the French Quarter. One of the best pieces of news here is that in 2023, we had twice as many cars on the street as we did in 2022. We also jumped in a big way collectively to address some of the issues with the unhoused population in the French Quarter. We have 2 case managers that have been on the street in 2023. We are adding one for 2024, and this is the data again by quarter and year to date for the metrics that we track in that program. So what are our priorities for the first quarter of 2024? We're halfway through that first quarter. We've successfully made our way through Mardi Gras. We have a code enforcement person hired, and we also expect to have some additional resources for parking enforcement. For those of us that live in the French Quarter, there's an app that we use that reaches out to NOPD when we want to report something. That went out for a request for proposal. We've got a vendor that has been identified, and we're negotiating to finalize that contract. We want to improve the staffing of the patrols. We definitely want to work on streetlights, and we have dedicated additional money and resources to the homeless. Covenant House being one of the programs, and then everyone's familiar with the Rapid Rehousing Program. We have dedicated some funds to that for a total of about $650,000 going to homeless services. And with that, I will conclude my remarks and take any questions. One more comment. I guess I've not concluded my remarks. The group that oversees this money and these programs is called the Agreement Monitors. It's part of the CEA. We meet on Monday, this coming Monday, at 12:30 at Bienville House Hotel. And Mr. Tony is always in that meeting, but if any of the rest of you or your staff want to attend, we certainly invite you to join us. Any questions or comments?
I have it.
Councilmember Green.
Yes, could you, there's a disadvantage in that maybe I didn't look online because I don't have the statistics in front of me, so I can't really comment. I can only ask you, can you tell me about what is being done to reduce the number of unhoused people in the French Quarter? Can you tell me how many there are as of a particular point in time, and has there been progress such as we've seen in the closing of 3 encampments in getting those who are unhoused, who are truly homeless, into facilities so that they don't have to live on the street?
Well, the data that you saw here.
I don't see it. That's the problem. So give me the numbers that I don't see. And if it's online, then I'll take responsibility. Is it online?
No.
All right, see, that's the problem. But I will tell you, I'm going to always ask that question.
Right.
Because of the successes that we've seen with the Office of Homeless Services and Strategies, Mr. Nathaniel Fields. So you can be assured that I'm going to be asking that, because I know that the people who live on the streets suffer in many ways that we don't feel because we don't talk to them enough. So can you tell me what's being done to reach the ultimate goal of getting to 0 with the number of people who are living on the streets?
We are focused on that as well, so thank you for your attention to it. In terms of the number of people, there is a survey that was done in January to count the homeless people in the French Quarter, and I believe throughout the entire city. We're waiting for the results of that. That'll give us some data. And the focus of Mr. Fields and Angela Zark with the TASNO and others is to be a resource to get people off the street into housing. We look at these numbers every month very carefully. We're excited to start to see the rapid rehousing take place, because that's supposed to facilitate that more quickly. Our goal is the same as your goal, 0 people on the streets in the French Quarter. And when we come back next quarter to do our report, I am certain that we'll have some more concrete data to share with you.
Right. I would like to know what the goal is in terms of, if there is one, and if you need to talk about on the side, what the goal is to have anyone who is unhoused living on the streets in an apartment or in the places where they can get the resources that they need, and also the residents and business owners can feel more comfortable each day, and those who visit, but they're not as, well, they are important. Residents and business owners, people who've invested in their own personal lives, are extremely important to Councilman King, to myself, and to all members of the council. I'd like to know what we're doing to move in a direction that we've already had success in, and that's to
the rapid rehousing program should make a big difference, because that gets people into those homes, into those apartments more quickly, and incentives for landlords. That's the additional money that we've allocated through this program to make that happen.
Right. Mr. Fields and the Office of Homeless Services and Strategies have shown that you can do that. They've relocated 125 people since they started looking the last 6 months. It's going to be in the long run saving lives. So I hope that we can have that, because I am going to ask, do we have any idea how many people are taken into vehicles owned by EMS, overdoses, people who die? I've been surprised that we haven't had that kind of statistic, not only for the French Quarter, but in other places. We'll be able to do that now because everybody's in the individual apartments and not sleeping at different places.
I mean, you look here, 133 people were connected to some sort of medical treatment. 133 people.
Right.
A lot.
In a month.
Right.
Okay.
Anything else?
I'll look forward to getting that information. If you could send to me, and maybe to the council, that particular one.
Sure.
That's a significant interest to me.
Be happy to.
Okay.
Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Ms. Cooper. All right, that concludes our meeting. Councilman Green, the floor is yours.
All right, we have distinguished gentlemen with us today. I'm going to ask those distinguished gentlemen, we're going to take a quick photo with myself and Councilman King.